Hey YouTube, it's me, Rocky TV. Today I'm going to be doing a different kind of YouTube video, a lot different from my other past YouTube videos. There's going to be no review. Well, I guess you can kind of say it's a review. It's going to be a review of my life. Now, I'm somewhat of a personal kind of guy. I don't like to mention a lot of things about myself. But I figured since I'm going to be doing YouTube for like the rest of my career, for life, I figured I should get this out here. Plus, I've been wanting to do a video like this for quite a while, but I just never had the courage to do it, and I was always insecure about my past. But now I feel more welcome, and I want to talk about the life of Rocky TV. Me. Now, as you guys know, I wasn't born with the name Rocky. That is a nickname that I earned. Was given. My bad. My real name is Ronald Wayne McKinley II. I was born here in San Antonio, Texas, to parents Ronald Wayne McKinley and Cherry McKinley. When I was 2, I moved to Ohio, and that's where I grew up mainly from 2 to 7 or 2 to 9. I can't really remember, but I was there for quite a bit, and I loved it. My childhood was okay, but it really wasn't. When I was a child, my parents did a lot of bad things. Mainly my dad and my mom as well, but mostly my dad. I used to get physically and mentally abused when I was a kid. There's been those even, and I moved a lot. Never stayed in a house to call home. I went to Lakeview Elementary in Ohio. I believe that's in Columbus. I'm not too sure. So if I'm wrong, correct me on that. I'm not too sure where that. Maybe Daytona. No, not Daytona. Daytona 500. No, but anyways, my childhood was pretty bad. We didn't have no running water. Um, I did really bad in school. I was a very bad kid in school. But my home life wasn't as great as I thought it was. As I'm talking about it now, I suffered a lot of abuse and a lot of trauma that I suffer from now. But anyways, let's get past my childhood. After about maybe I think it was '08 or '07, 2007, my dad had went to jail. No, it was '09, 2009. I'm sorry. My dad had went to jail for saying that he wanted to kill a cop. He had told his counselor that. I'm not too sure what the counselor was there for, but anyways, he went to jail. My mom was at work. I was there when this all happened. That wasn't his first time going to jail, by the way. There's been many other times. Um, but he went to jail, and I, for some reason, blamed my mom for him going to jail. And I don't know why. I still don't know why, but I thought it was her fault. But anyways, that was the start of a downward spiral for my family. Um, after that, after my dad going to jail, we found out how long he was staying there for. I believe it was a year or 2 years. I believe it was a year. Me and my mom lost a lot of money, and so what my mom would do is she would be going around having sex with guys, helping out with rent, a place to stay. There was this dude named Brett that was friends with my dad, but when he went to jail, he started, getting frisky with my mom in the bed. He was also like my dad. He also abused me. Um, he abused me, sold all my toys, sold all my Xbox, my original Xbox, my TV, everything that you can think of. It was gone. He sold it, sold the car, and then he moved us to a place in Columbus. It was a 1 bedroom apartment, and it wasn't even a 1 bedroom apartment. It was just more of like a one room, and my room was a section made out of boxes, and I didn't even have a mattress. I had to sleep on the floor, which was carpet. I guess you could say it was kind of cool, but there was no AC, and it was very cold. So I was constantly freezing. I had a lot of head lice in my hair, um, but it wasn't good. But I made the best of it because right across the street was a park, and I loved going to the park. I had my dog named Chico with me at the time, and I remember Chico. Chico was a good dog. I had him for about 5, maybe 4 years. But as life went downwards for me and my family, we had to give him to a close family friend. A lot of my family in Ohio didn't want to accept or allow me and my mom to stay there because they didn't like my mom. And I still don't get. I don't know why, but now I do. Well, they hate her more now for what she's done, and we'll get to that. But anyways, I was sleeping on this in this room. Not even a room. It's just like a one room. It's like the size of my room. It's not that big. It wasn't that big. Lived in a very poor place. It was very poor. A lot of drugs, a lot of everything. At this time, my mom was doing crack, heroin, smoking weed. That's not that bad, but weed's not that bad. My bad. Let me correct that. Weed's not that bad, but all the other shit was pretty bad. And she was probably doing more, and I don't even know. But I made the best of it. I was a kid, so I didn't really know what the real world was like. You know, I didn't really find out what my parents were doing until I was about 11 or 12 years old, maybe even 13. It was crazy to me. Now, after that, um, after where we're living at, the the guy named Brett, he just left us. He moved away and left us. We never heard from him again. We don't know what happened. But after that, my mom slept around with guy to guy, doing drugs with other guys, shit like that. So we would have a place to stay and sleep. If not, we would be homeless in, you know, in Ohio. And it gets very cold and it snows. So I probably, if we were homeless, I probably wouldn't be here right now making this video. I'd probably be dead, really. So I guess I can thank my mom for that. But there's better ways to find a place to sleep in, or a place to stay at. There's better ways to do that. It's not that. Anyways, after that, we contacted my grandma who lived here in San Antonio, Texas. They helped get us a bus ticket. I remember the last week I was here. I was there in Ohio. I was going to my school, Lakeview Elementary. I think I was in second grade when this happened. It was my last week here, and I was saying goodbye to all my friends because I was never going to see them again. I still haven't seen them. And I just remember that at that certain time that I'm going to a place where I've only been there for a few times. I don't know what to expect. I don't. Up until then, I've never seen a Mexican dude or anything like that. So, when I was a kid, everything was new to me. Traveling, I thought we would travel because we had all this money. I didn't realize what my mom, and my dad were doing. I didn't. Not till later. But anyways, we took the bus down from Ohio to San Antonio, Texas. My grandpa was there waiting for us, and I remember seeing my grandpa, and I remember just getting so happy. Seeing my grandpa and my grandma made me so happy because I haven't seen them in years. So it was nice seeing a familiar face. When I saw them, we hugged. We went back to our house. We stayed there for a bit, and then my sister, I believe Michelle. My mom was pregnant with Michelle back in 2008, but she had Michelle in 2009 in December. Then Michelle was born, and my sister. She's the oldest out of my sisters. She's 11. So we had her, and I was so happy. I had a sister. I had a sibling, because up until then I was just a only kid. So I never had a brother or sister or anything like that. It was exciting. It was different. But my mom came out dirty for crack. So CPS was immediately called on her, and we were taken away, and we were stationed with my grandma. We stayed with my grandma for about a year. For a year, and that was a good year for me. I think that was a good year. I stayed with my grandma. Me and my sister did, and I had a great time. Even though I said I was bored half the fucking time, I had a great time. I just didn't realize it, you know. Um, but my dad was out, by the way. My dad got out, and then a year later, Jewel was born, but not to my dad, from some other guy named Raul. Raul was a crackhead friend of my mom's, and they had got together when my dad was in jail. Dad didn't like that, blah blah blah, right? Anyways, outside of that, Jewel was born. She's the youngest sibling out of three. I'm the oldest, obviously. She just turned 10 today. Today's her birthday, actually, July 4th. No, not July 4th. Oh, I feel bad. July 1st is her birthday, which is today. So she's turning 10. Happy birthday, Jewel. I love you. Um, but when I went back with my parents when I was 12, no, when I was 11, I started to slowly find out what they were doing. Um, I saw my dad putting something in his arm right here in the kitchen one time when I was at his house. And I asked him what it was, and he told me that it was a medicine. But at that point, I knew kind of what my dad was doing. I didn't know if my mom was doing it then I found out that they were both doing it not too long after that. It was very, very shitty. Um, now my mom and my dad, they weren't a happy couple. They divorced in 2002. They didn't stay married for very long. They hated each other. They argued every day, got into multiple fist fights. It really sucks seeing your parents argue every day of your life. Every day they would argue. Now a day didn't go by where they didn't argue. They didn't love each other. They hated each other, but they were here for me and my sisters. But that was probably the worst mistake they ever made in their lives. Because I think if my dad and my mom were in the picture and they were separated, I think things would have been a lot better for me and my sisters growing up. But they stayed together, and I suffered. I suffered a lot. Constantly moved still. My mom and my dad never get back on their feet here in San Antonio. They still haven't. My dad passed away back in 2018. My mom is now a bum and a lying bitch. We'll get to that later on, though. We're almost done. Anyways, when I was 12, we moved to this place called the Lincoln Courts here in San Antonio. That place was bad. Full of crackheads, full of druggies, constantly, a lot of gunfire, gun firing, gunshots, people breaking into people's apartments, killing them, taking their shit, killing their kids. It was just a bad place. And I'm a white guy or a white kid in a black neighborhood. You know how that would usually go. Anyways, when I was in 5th grade, I got bullied a lot because just by the skin color. Nobody wanted to sit with me. Everybody bullied me because I was white. They all thought I was weird. And I kind of was. I made this sound called a pterodactyl noise. I don't know why, but I did. I can't do it now. It hurts my throat. Plus, I have my wisdom teeth coming in, so it hurts to talk. Or to do that. I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do it. But outside of that, 5th grade was horrible. I had no friends. And it was one of the worst years of my life. And then 6th grade rolled around. I went to this middle school called Irving Middle School. And I loved it. I loved it. 6th grade was awesome. I had a lot more friends. I didn't get bullied as much. And when I did get bullied, I would fight back. I constantly fought. Got into a lot of fist fights with people at school. Then I started stepping up to my parents. I started getting mad for what they were doing. And they started, and in a way, I'm thankful that I found out what they were doing, and I knew not to do that. I knew to try to avoid it, and which I did. I did avoid it, but I still had to come home to it. I still had to see it every day. I still had to suffer. They pawned all my toys, my game consoles. They took all my money that I had. If I got any money, if I made any money, they took it. It was horrible. I was a kid, not having a real, childhood. It wasn't great. It was very horrible, and a lot more happened. And As I got older, the trauma really started to really affect me. The lying, the stealing, the arguments, everything. It just kind of slowly added up. You know, the only real people that I could really trust were my grandparents, and I'm so thankful for them. I really am, because I believe if they weren't here, I wouldn't be here. I'd probably be somewhere else right now in the ditch, doing crack or some shit. I don't know, but I'm thankful for them. I really am. I'm thankful for my grandmother. She's the best grandmother ever. She really is. You guys just don't know. But sixth grade was pretty cool year. I liked it. Then seventh grade kind of rolled around, and I loved it too, just as much, probably more than sixth grade. I had a hot math teacher named Miss Abundis. She was hot. She still is. I'm me and her friends on Facebook. Woo, hot. Um, she's cool. She was really cool though. She really believed in me. I wasn't very good in school, and I was horrible at math. And she constantly worked with me. I stayed. Past school times. She would tutor me. She would help me. It was great. I loved it. It was great. She made seventh grade a lot more easier for me. And as I moved on in life, she would make math easier for me. Although I only had her for 1 year, she still helped me very much. She impacted my life a lot. Seventh grade was pretty cool. I joined the football team. We won the championship undefeated. That was the greatest feeling ever. Neither of my parents showed up for my final game. They hardly ever showed up for any of my games, so it kind of sucked. I had real no support from them. And then we moved to this house, right? So seventh grade ended, and then we moved. And eighth grade, I went to this place called Longfellow Middle School. I hated it. It sucked. I had to start over, and the fights and arguing and everything was just getting more worse at home. I was getting depressed. I hated being home. I did not want to be home. I constantly ran away, constantly picked arguments with my mom and my dad. It was bad, you know? And thinking about it now, I really wish I had told somebody or kind of had someone to talk to back then, because I was so alone. Nobody, in my opinion, nobody really understood my situation at home. And I feel like if I told them, they would just be like, you'll be fine. But I never told anybody till now. Eighth grade rolled around. I hated it. People just sucked in eighth grade. You ever get that one school year where everybody just sucks? It sucked. I hated it. I absolutely fucking hated it. Eighth grade wasn't that awesome. I had a crush on this girl named Rose. She played me like a fucking piano, I tell you what. She really did, though. But anyways, past eighth grade. Let's go to high school. High school is pretty big because, we got 4 more years of school left. 4 more years, that's big. That's cool. Ninth grade freshman year was scary. I went to this place called Thomas Jefferson for 4 months. It's fucking sucked. I hated it. Got into multiple fights with people because of my skin color. Had no real friends. Had a girlfriend named Catherine. She only dated me because she felt bad for me. So I don't know what she means by that, but she felt bad for me. So fuck you, Catherine. Look at me now. I'm a YouTube star. I bet you regret it now, baby. Ninth grade sucked. But then after that, I went to Thomas Jefferson for 4 months. I moved to a place called John Jay, and I would remain at John Jay for the rest of my 4 years in high school. That school is so much more better. It was filled with a lot of crap, though. I tell you what. Constantly pregnant women, a lot of fights. People shot up the school. It was crazy. John Jay was like a fucking fairy tale school, but it was awesome. I loved every minute there. Everyone there was so awesome. Ninth grade was a blast after that. Although I had eye surgery. The ninth grade. No, I didn't. 10th grade, I had eye surgery. My eyes. So ninth grade ended, went to 10th grade, had eye surgery. 10th grade was a very bland year. Can't really anything interesting happening in 10th grade. I had a girlfriend named Emily back in ninth grade. Me and her dated for 4 months. I counted her as my first love. I loved her a lot, even though we only lasted 4 months. But me and her did a lot in those 4 months. Um, a lot. Her parents hated me because I was white and didn't have a job, but I was only like 16 or 15. So, and I was coming off a broken ankle. I had at this point broken my ankle twice in 1 year. I broke my first one in 8th grade, and then the following year, I broke it again in 9th grade. So there's that. Forgot to mention I lost my virginity at 13 in 7th grade to the school hoe that I did not realize was a school hoe. So bros before hoes, guys. Remember that. That's basically it right there. But me and Emily broke up. Me and her would talk. Me and her would talk throughout the years and hook up a few times. But we really stopped talking between 2020 and 2021. Haven't really talked to her since then. She's been with this dude who treats her like shit. I don't know if she's with him anymore. I don't know. I don't talk to her. But if she sees this video, I would love to talk to you, Emily. I miss you as a friend. You were a really great friend. 11th grade year, that's when I met my second love, Electra. And this brings me to, in my opinion, the most darkest point in my life where I didn't think I would continue. 2018 was a very, very shitty year. It was just very shitty to me. I lost a lot of family members that I loved. At this point, my dad had passed away. He was changing, changing for the better. He didn't physically abuse me no more, and he tried to make up for what he did for all those years. And I realized that. And I was just so happy that he was trying his best. This is hard. He passed away after a month after his birthday. I still remember it too. At that point, we had found out that my grandpa had cancer, and he had 6 months to live. So I assumed when I got the phone call at school that my grandpa had passed, my mom had came down to the school, and she called me down, and I thought my grandpa had passed. But it totally caught me off guard when she said my dad passed. My dad killed himself. I found that out not too long ago, actually. My mom had lied to me and said that he died of 4 things, but she told me the truth about 8 months ago. So there's that. And after that, I was just depressed. I was destroyed. I missed my dad, and I was in an abusive relationship with someone that claimed they loved me, but they really didn't. And I wasn't the best either. I did a lot of things. I said a lot of things I didn't mean. And I just wasn't in the right mood. And I wasn't in the right state of mind. I had lost my dad, and I was doing bad in school. I wasn't going to school no more. I quit. I just couldn't come. When I would go, I wouldn't really focus. Didn't care. And then the abusive relationship didn't really help. She wasn't physically abusive. She was just mentally abusive. But still, it hurts. All the abuse that I had in my life. So, and after that, my grandpa had passed away 6 months later. Back in July, he passed. And my friend Henry was there when my mom told me that he had passed. And I just couldn't believe it. Because I just had lost my grandpa, my dad, 6 months prior. And then now I lost my grandpa. And this was a summer by then. This was a summer. I was still with Electra. Me and her lasted for about 10 months. And I just felt so alone. I felt so alone. I was in the darkest moment of my life. I was starting to drink a lot of alcohol, kind of turned into an alcoholic, but a lot of people don't know that about me. I was an alcoholic, and you know, I wasn't doing so great. I was doing pretty bad. Um, but it sucked. I was really down in the dumps. I had no support from nobody whatsoever. My mom only made it worse. She was arguing with me. She was meeting other guys. They were arguing with me. I was arguing with her. It was just so bad. It was just so bad, you know. And about a month or two after that, one of my uncles killed his nephew. Well, killed my nephew, and then killed himself. And I was close to them. And at that point, I was just wondering when it was my time. When am I going to lay 6 feet under? When am I going to die? When when is it my time? Because I just did not want to live anymore. I was so tired. There was those times where I thought about just dropping dead, killing myself, man. It was hard. It was very hard, and I didn't have nobody to lean on. I couldn't talk to nobody. My relationship was falling apart. She didn't want to help me. She didn't want to talk to me no more. Um, at that time, I was already doing YouTube already. I was doing these cringy ass videos of I was basically ripping off Filthy Frank and Max Mofo and stupid shit like that. But a lot of things changed in me that year. A lot of things did. Near the end of the year, I didn't want to be that person no more. I didn't want to be sad. I didn't want to be heartbroken. I didn't want to be anything like that no more. I didn't want to argue every day. I was so tired of it. And the one way, to get out of the situation is to leave. To grow, to find better people to hang around. Because if you hang around someone who has positive vibes, you'll start feeling positive, and you'll want to start slowly to build yourself back up again. And that's what I did. I surrounded myself with better friends, and then I had to leave the relationship that I was in, but it was so hard because I already left 3 or 4 times before, and I came back. So this time I knew if I leave, I can't come back. So what I did was I had to still be with her, but also get over her while I was still with her. Um, so I did do that. I forgot to mention that my mom had went to rehab. She had went to rehab for drugs. She tested dirty. She went to rehab because my sisters got taken away. And I really thought she was going to change for the better. I really, really thought this was like the last hope for her. This was in 2018. This was the last hope. She went to rehab. She wasn't smoking no more. She wasn't doing drugs. She looked better. She was doing great. And then immediately afterwards, she got out. She went back to everything. Went back to her old ways. Started messing around with guys, with her old fucking friends. And at that point, that's when I lost a lot of hope. That's when I lost hope for her. And I knew that she wasn't going to be part of my life no more. And it was so hard. Because I had lost my dad, my grandpa, my uncle, my nephew. And now basically I'm losing my mom. It was so hard to realize that. And it still is, But my grandma is more of my mom. And I appreciate her. But it really sucked, man. Because I didn't have nobody in 2018. It was really shitty. A really shitty time for me. And I hope nobody ever goes through that. Now we go to 2020. Oh no, 2019. My bad. Totally forgot the year. 2019 was a better year. I had better friends. I was single. I did whatever I want. I focused. This was the last year of high school for me, so I wanted to make the best that it was. So I said to myself, I'm not going to miss one day of school. And I did not. It was the best year. I graduated. No absences. I didn't have to go to school full time. I got out within like fifth period. It was great. Great year. 2018 was a great year. And then entered the real world. Now, the real world's a pretty weird thing, man, because a lot of good things happen and then a lot of bad things happen. When I graduated, I didn't really know what to do. I didn't want to go to college because I didn't know what I wanted to do in college if I did go. So I didn't go. I didn't go at all. And so I just held part-time jobs down or full-time jobs. Kind of what I'm doing now, you know. And that was me. And that was me when I graduated in 2019. That's what I did. At the end, my mom had found this dude named George. They had got together, and George was a very bad influence on her. He did not help. I mean, she was already bad, but he didn't help either. He did drugs, shit like that. I thought he was pretty cool at first. At first, I thought he was alright. I thought, hey, you know, my dad died, and this is a way of her just kind of moving on, because I don't want her to be stuck on my dad. She's in her, mid 40s. My dad was 60, so maybe. I told her to move on. I thought it would help. It didn't help, obviously. Um, George, my mom would eventually break into my house and steal all my stuff and sell it and kill my 2 cats. He's also a animal killer. He killed my turtle that I gave to him. This was before the break-in. I was pretty pissed off, and I threatened to beat his ass. And I don't talk to him, and I don't want to talk to her. For the most longest time, I did not talk to neither of them. I moved in with my grandma. I avoided them at all costs when they would come over. Sorry the video cut off, but anyways, back where I was at. Anyways, they had broke in, taken all my stuff, and yeah, that's it. 2020 was an nth year. I lost a few jobs, gained a few, worked at Little Caesars where I'm at now, and that's where I'm at right now, man. 2021. It's been a great year. I got my first car. I got my first car back in 2020 actually, but I still have the same car. I still have the same car, and I've been working this job at Little Caesars for a long time now, for almost a year, and I put in my 2 weeks, and I'm going to start my job at UPS now. I start July 5th at 4:30 p.m. Granted, I still have a few days left here at Little Caesars. I just wanted to say thank you, Little Caesars, for welcoming me back with open arms. I appreciate you guys. You guys meant a lot to me. You guys did so much. The second run with you guys helped me, made me a man. You guys helped me a lot, and I appreciate you. So, Annabelle, thank you. If you're watching this, I appreciate you a lot. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you guys stayed and watched the entire video. I know it's a long one. I'm sorry, but I've been wanting to get this off my chest for a very, very long time. I appreciate every single one of you. Remember to like and subscribe. Help support the channel growth. I'll see you guys next time when I do a backflip off my chair.